Hey there, adventurers. I'm Norwolf. Welcome to my RPG realm and to session 1 of my Powers and Perils solo play with the two characters, Gildor the Magic User and Raffin the Warrior, that I created in previous videos on this channel. They are both updated to use the version 2 of the Powers and Perils rules, which are available on the powersandperils.org website, which I'll have a link to below. And if I remember, I'll also put links to the creation of the characters down below as well. So I don't necessarily profess to be an entertainer here. You won't see the same production quality as say, Me, Myself, and Die or other similar channels. So expect a little bit of a grind as I get into some of the detail about the rules. And I kind of bubble around and kind of figure out how to get into a bit of a groove here with running this thing. So anyways, what I do plan to do is get into some adventures that are, for the most part, pre-planned as part of a campaign that I ran many years back. But I'll also try and get some new stuff and some randomized stuff incorporated into this as well. So we'll see how this goes. There'll also be some downtime activities, because one of the big things in Powers and Perils is, just there's opportunities to improve your skills, your characteristics, create equipment, your own magic items, all that kind of stuff. There's some really cool rules for some of that stuff. So if you want to get into those types of details anyways. So, all right, let's get into some background on the kingdom here and our characters. So I showed this map before. This is the little kingdom area that we'll be playing in. The hexes are 5 miles each. So this is the kingdom of Ketan. It was once known as the barony of Druman. It's a small remote fragment of what was once a large empire that was just referred to as the Empire. The empire had grown vast and accumulated innumerable small kingdoms and mixed races and backgrounds. The empire prospered for more than 1,000 years until the emperor suddenly vanished one day, creating a major power vacuum, and which led to chaos as expected. Without the overbearing control of the emperor, the internal conflicts and power struggles escalated very quickly. Essentially, within a matter of a year, the empire had crumbled, and a lot of the duchies, territories, provinces, you name it, had broken off into their own independent kind of kingdoms with little resistance from what was left of the empire. Fighting pretty much broke out between all these new kingdoms in their efforts to gain some sort of dominance over each other. And a few of these kingdoms did have some success, but generally speaking, there was very little gained by them, and most just suffered a large toll on lives. 15 to 20 years, the battles between the kingdoms have quieted down as they nurse their wounds, and during this time of uneasy peace. But little news travels between these independent kingdoms brings troubling rumors that some force off to the far east must be gathering and trying to assert itself as it methodically engulfs nearby kingdoms. That's really kind of where the original heart of the empire used to be. So the individual kingdoms that remain are quite varied. They range from dwarven to elven, halfling to human, some kingdoms with various mixed races as well. Most of the duchies and provinces from the past were either law, chaos, or balance aligned. Since the breakdown of the empire, some have even reverted back to their elder roots. So you'll find some that are elder, shamanic, Cid, or even Katothi aligned. Our little kingdom here tends to be more centered around elder and Cid. Let's see, what else? The kingdom itself. The kingdom of Ketan is, as I said, was once referred to as the barony of Druman and within the empire. It is currently ruled by a fair and much loved monarch, King Ferdinand Ketan. has been in power for the last 20 years. The kingdom has gone through various battles internally, as well as with the kingdom through the mountain pass to the east, a little mountain pass up here. And basically the relations between the two kingdoms are pretty strained. And for the last 15 years or so, there's been an uneasy truce between the two. The valley that the kingdom of Ketton sits within has very rich soil and particularly prosperous mine. Ketton is essentially the capital of the kingdom. There's three larger towns and a number of smaller villages. The kingdom itself is predominantly human, but there are small clans of elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, fairies, and a few other obscure races within this valley. The mountains to the south open up somewhat, but the area is very thick with, or coated with thick, dense forest that's said to be extremely dangerous. So there's very little travel into the deep south. Now, our characters. So again, we have Gildor, who's the elf magic user type. So Gildor basically grew up in the village of Sylvanheart, which is down in the southeast corner. I'll hopefully get some zoom-ins on these maps at some point here. I might even try using a VTT to do some of this gameplay. But anyways, what do we got about Gildor here? So he grew up in the Elven Enclave within the village of Sylvanheart. The Elven Enclave is ingrained into the village community. The village itself is a mixture of primarily humans and elves, with a few halflings thrown in. A few years back, Gildor traveled to what is known as the Tower, where he was trained trained as both an Elder Wizard and a Sid Magician by the Master Lenderin. Essentially, Gildor's goals are to increase his magical power, craft wondrous magical items, and be a protector of this small kingdom. Essentially, follow in the footsteps of his master, guild master. Let's see. Growing up along with Gildor was Raffin, our warrior. So Raffin himself, again, was also raised in the village of Sylvanheart and is the son of the local blacksmith. He never really got into the family business of smithing. He spent most of his time running around the nearby forest with Gildor. Later in life, he joined the local militia to help protect the town. As I said, he's been a friend with Gildor since a young age. And his goals are essentially, he is fiercely loyal to the kingdom and the king, wants to help protect it. He idolizes the king's military leader, Eric the Red, and Eric's famous for his exploits in past battles and things like that. He's known to be a rather large fellow and extremely adept in combat. That's kind of what Raffin is aspiring to. Aspirations. Right. So what we're going to do is essentially pick up with the carry on from where we left off with the sample battle, where the two of these guys fought the ogre. So it's basically that afternoon. Afternoon of the. Find my calendar here. Yeah, found my calendar. So we're going to start. We're just using a standard calendar. The year that these characters are in is 1507. Not that that's really relevant at this point. And we're going to start on let's just go for the 15th of May. So it's that afternoon. They just finished fighting the ogre. If I remember correctly, Raffin is wounded. He has 8 points of damage. So Gildor is going to try and heal him. Gildor is a magic experience level 3 mage or wizard. He's going to use the healing spell that he has, which is a base mana cost of 1, and he has an EL of 3 in it. And he can use his supernatural language called Tongue of the Cid, which he has an EL of 80 in. So the first things here is to see if he's successful in using the language. 29, so he does use the language successfully, which means get the rules for supernatural languages. Let me flip over to him here. So a supernatural language will reduce the casting cost by 20%. Increase the EL of the spell by 1. And any result after modification of abysmal failure on the magic table will have an additional 5 subtracted from it. So if I absolutely fail in casting the spell, the results won't necessarily be quite as bad as they could be. And let's see, what else here? Any expertise points gained for the success with the spell are also gained in the caster's ability with the language. I believe there's a rule somewhere that also says if your language is maxed, that expertise goes towards the spell itself. If I can find that, I'll add it in, but as I said, we're using Tongue of the Cid, so it applies to all Cid magics, concealing menace, wilderness, and forgetfulness, and of course we're healing as a Cid magic here. Right, so he's going to be casting at EL2. And as I said, he's base mana cost 1 spell. And I took the liberty of condensing some of the tables onto a single page that I actually use frequently. I didn't want to use the DM screens. So our base mana cost 1, casting at EL2 is costs us 5 mana. And with a 20% reduction, round down, that's going to be 4 mana. So we're going to, and to actually cast the spell, at EL3, EL2, he's able to gather 3 mana per phase. Not that we're in combat right now, so basically 2 phases later, he's collected his 4 mana. So he's used 5 the previous day on one of his spells, or earlier this day on one of his spells. So with 4 mana more. And so now we subtract the EL times 2 from the percentile roll to see if he's successful. And because Gildor is a willing recipient of the spell, rather than the MDV being added to the roll, it's being subtracted from the roll. So we're subtracting another 3, so a total of 7 being subtracted. Let's see if the spell works. 63 on the he's a magic experience level 3, and so that's a failure. So he gets one, does get 1 partial or 1 expertise in the spell. Oops. And of course, I'm not sure why there's some extra numbers on here. Probably from when I was testing. He gets 1 partial there. Right, let's try the language again. He's going to try casting the spell one more time. 59, language works. Subtracting 7. 0, 0. All right, we have our first abysmal. Actually, no, -7 is going to be 93, so he's actually just a failure. So another partial in spell. Had he not had that -7, we would have been rolling on the abysmal failure table here. And just for shits and giggles, let's see what it would have been. So we are subtracting 5 because of the successful language. So 73. Force controlling the spell takes the knowledge of the use of the the force controlling the spell takes the knowledge of its use from the caster. He must relearn the spell essentially. That would have been painful. All right, so fortunately he did an abysmal. So essentially, he can't be abysmal in this case. All right, so that cost him 4 more. Let's try the language again. Whoops. geez, can't roll with my pencil in my hand here. 95. He fails at the language. So fails at the language. That means that any result after modification of business failure on the magic table will have an additional. Where is it? So we can only cast it at EL 1. And so it wasn't, so it's basically a partial success in the spell, or in the using of the language. Between 1 and 25 within your skill, it's a partial success, which means it isn't an absolute failure. So I don't think that makes any effect at this point, other than he's casting at EL1 instead of at EL2. So, and we're not subtracting, well, we're still subtracting 7. Right, so let's see how that works. Geez, 97, 90, what a failure. That's 4 more points gone. Gonna try again. Might as well keep trying. Another partial in the spell itself. Okay, language. So 80 or less. Language is not successful, so he's casting EL1. We're just having a miserable time here. So 80 is another failure, another partial, another 4. Raffin's probably looking at him going, what the hell's the matter with you, dude? I thought you were trained in all this stuff. Right, another language. Yeah, language works this time. Another spell cast, -7. 43. That's an actual success. So that cost him 4 more mana. He gets 4 experience in successfully casting the spell. He gets the base mana cost at EL plus 2 times the base mana cost, and that's an EL base mana cost 1 spell. Well, this will give him 4 magic experience points. Oops. Sure, that's there. All right, 4 magic experience points, and for expertise in the spell itself, he gets the base mana cost times 2. So he gets 2 more partial, or 2 more expertise there. So what's he got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got a total of 7 now. He needs 25 to go up to EL2, and that's it. Right, so what does the healing do for us? We'll go to the book. The healing spell itself is in book 2 on page 107. Oops, no, it's a healing spell, 167. Our healing spell. As I said, base mana cost 1. We cast it EL2, so the damage healed is going to be D6 plus Raffin's stamina bonus, which is plus 1. And heal the spell, which we managed to cast at EL2. So D6 plus 3. Gets a total of 4 points back. He's down 4 now instead of 8. The thing that does for Raffin is the healing chances increase tomorrow. So EL that the spell was cast at plus 1, so 3 times 5. So he gets plus 15 to his healing chance for the next day. And he'll get a stamina bonus. Actually, he doesn't. So the EL divided by 3 round down, so 2 divided by 3 is still 0. No stamina bonus for what he heals the next day. Cool. All right, so after doing their little bit of healing here and whatnot, they make their way. Oh, actually, just before they leave, the other thing that Gildor will do is go to the corpse of the ogre and take one of the body parts off the ogre. So, and that's for his magical studies. So one of the things with Powers and Perils is, or one of the rules I'm using is something called the laws of magic. If I can find a reference here. Where is it? Laws of magic. There it is. See how this comes up. So there's the law of association. So if two things have components in common, then they act in common. The law of similarity. Effects have appearances similar to their causes. So simply put, like produces like. Contagion. Objects once in contact continue direct after separation. The law of rarity. Rarity is directly related to power. Law of personification. Any phenomena may be alive and possessing a personality. The more powerful or larger it is, the more likely that it will have an active one. Law of words of power. They're words which hold power, and this power resides as much in the sounds themselves as the meaning of the words. So I've got some magic creation rules that I'll be using eventually when Gildor gets to that point in his life when he's actually able to do that, but various rare parts from from mystical creatures or powerful creatures can be used as part of that magic creation process. So you'll be randomly snagging parts from different types of creatures as we come across them. Right. So our handy dandy adventurers here, they, like I said, grab their stuff, head back down the road, and we'll say that they were just a few hours outside of Sylvanheart here when they had encountered the ogre. It was late afternoon by the time they make it into Sylvanheart, and probably immediately make their way over to the local tavern to wash the road dust from their mouths and get a little bit of warm grub in their tummies. Old map of Sylvanheart that I've got here, based off of the Judges Guild Village books. I'll be modifying this or updating it with probably using Incarnate or something like that to create some sort of a more colorful, useful representation of Sylvanheart. But anyways, the inn itself, as I said, is the referred to as the Silver Leaf. They'll go in there, they'll order up some grub for themselves, some drink, and relax a bit before they head off to their respective homes. Okay, so let's pop back to the PDF. So meals and drink. So we're going to go with probably, we'll say this is a good inn or a good tavern anyways. Meal costs them 6 brass bits each, and a couple of ales to wash that down, so another brass bit. The generous folks that they are, Gildor will pay for both meals, and he'll just knock off 2 copper coins to cover off the 16 brass bits plus a bit of a tip. So, right. The rest of that day passes by without any event. The next morning, let's see what happens the next morning here. So Gildor will gain 4 of his mana back that he spent. So we'll knock off one of these +4s that I've got here. He's used 21 points out of his 33. So it's going to be a few. And so that's it for him. Now, Raffin, having spent a restful night at home, has a 56% chance of healing this morning. 54, just made it. And for healing, flip back to the PDF here. So for healing, he gains back D3, where is it here? D3 plus his D3 plus, why can't I see it here? Plus his stamina bonus. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. Okay, D3 plus his stamina bonus, hit points. So his stamina bonus again is +1, so D3, 2 points back. 3 points back. So he's down, still down 1 hit point. Which is pretty good for this guy, anyways. Okay, I think they're gonna hang around town, or hang around the village here next few days. Gildor will go and see. Gildor is actually quite interested in both smithing and jewel craft. He's got as part of his magical training, he has both armor and jeweler. So I'm going to say he spent a lot of time with Raffin's father in the smithy. So he'll probably spend a few days there just helping out as he regains some of his mana. So, and of course we're on the next day, on the 15th of May. I don't believe anything particular is going to happen that day. Actually, we're going to just pass a few days here. So another day goes by. He's at 17 mana. Get rid of the PDF here so you can actually see what I'm doing. And I don't know if I want to roll for random events here or not, but day and down to 15 points used. And let's go for one more day and have a total of 9 mana used up. And I think he's safe to travel at that point or do something a little bit more interesting than just hang around the village. I think we can do at least one or two more rolls for this guy. So that 15% was on the first day. It's gone for the next one. He bothered to go see a healer, and of course neither one of these guys have a healer skill to be able to do anything to help themselves. So it's just at a flat 41%. And if necessary, that's 3 more days worth of rolling here. So 41, 10, and he only had 1 point left, so he would have gotten 4 more points back. So he's up to full. So on the morning of the 18th, the local captain of the militia comes running up to these guys and basically says that looks like he's in a bit of a panic, and says about a couple of days ago, he says there was a couple of large wolves that were spotted just to the west of the village that had been harassing some of the travelers and farmers out in the countryside there. They'd taken a few animals, had gone missing, things like that. We had sent out a couple of the town guard or the village guards or militia out to try and take care of those wolves. He says they headed out yesterday morning, went searching for the wolves. When they got to one of the nearby farms, they found the half-eaten body of the farmer out in his field. So this is the first time that those wolves had actually attacked people. Part of that, they'd just been taking some of the animals. So the guards managed to track the wolves a short distance into the woods, but they quickly lost the trail. Our guards aren't known for their expertise in tracking. So anyways, they lost the trail. They spent the evening out in the forest, camped as they were trying to pick up the trail again. But again, in the middle of the night, they were attacked by these large, oversized wolves. Large, fierce creatures, I'm told. Of the 3 guards, 1 was killed, and the other 2 managed to just barely escape. One of the 2 that escaped died on the way back, and the third is in his home recovering from his grievous wounds. So we'd appreciate if the 2 of you might go out and track down these wolves and take care of them for us. We can't really afford to lose any more townfolk or town guards, and hopefully you'll, with your expertise and combat abilities, maybe you can do better against these large wolves than our guards were able to. So of course, Raffin and Gildor are more than happy to help out, and they'll go see the wounded guard to find out a little bit more detail about where and what these creatures actually look like. And as it turns out, the creatures themselves, from the description, Gildor and Raffin essentially think, these aren't just normal wolves, they're likely wargs. So let's head out. They head back to their homes, they grab their traveling gear and equipment, and head off on the road to the west. Breaking off from the road once they get kind of into the general area where the wargs were encountered, and go searching for them. So Gildor's tracking is better than Raffin's. Let's find the rules for using skills. I'm going to flip back to the books here. So skill use. We are using a single skill, our tracking ability, which is tracking is 7. He is familiar with the forest, so he's got an EL8 there, so that helps him in general within the area. So we're going to say it's a moderate difficulty. I'm assuming these are large wolves that are leaving some heavy footprints in the ground. So it's going to be an other, this is not an or 80 type skill like armor or jewelry is. It's going to be 10 times. So he's got a 70% chance of finding the tracks. 28. So he's successfully found the tracks for these guys, and he starts. They head off into the woods looking for where these wargs may be held up. Hold up. I'm going to say that come midday, they've come across where these wargs are hanging out. Probably some sort of a small den or cave entrance, and we're going to do ambush chances for both. Ambush is in book 3 on page 241. These version 2 rules. The 241. That doesn't quite seem right. It's actually 225. So ambush chance in the forest, 30%. Highest EL, which is 8. So for Gildor and Raffin to ambush the wolves, it's 38%. They did not, and the wolves to add the wargs to ambush them is going to be 30. I'll give them a +5, so 35, and they didn't ambush them either, so it's just a straight encounter. So our encounter distance is going to be encounter distance Our counter distance is going to be a die 6 plus 10 hexes away. So each hex is going to be 10 feet. So die 6 plus 10. So we're going to be starting at 11, 110 feet apart. Let me get that set up and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. One thing I did forget to do is the other day when Gildor did all those heal spells or attempts at heal spells and got all of 4 magic experience points. He does get one characteristic, at least I'm going to give it to him, for every 25 magic experience points or less that he gets in a particular setting or situation. He gets characteristic points for that. And that characteristic point can go on any of his current abilities that can still be modified except for strength and agility when it comes from magic, that is. Combat experience points for every 50 combat experience points you get, round up, you get one characteristic, and those can go against any characteristics that can be modified. So we're going to bump his intelligence to 37. Okay, we've got Gildor here, and we've got Raffin. They see a wolf or the warg off in the distance, at least one of them. I'm going to use 5-foot squares here. So I said they're 110 feet apart. The warg, that's the male warg that's out and about. He moves 5 hexes in his first phase, which is 50 feet. So that brings him down to 60 feet once the movement actually starts happening. And of course, our phases consist of mana allocation, missile fire, magic effect, and then movement and melee. So, Raffin has his bow out. Gildor is likely going to start doing prep for casting a spell of some sort. Let's just double check what he can do here. Lightning, I had to fix a couple of base mana costs because I still had the version 1 base mana costs in here. So lightning actually has a base mana cost of 6. I was originally thinking about using that. But if I look at the casting on that, so he's got it at EL 0 at the moment. And he does have a language for it. That's what the little 2 on the side there means. So he's got this Tongue of the Giant. Utgard Geror. You say that? Based on the new rules. Or updated rules. I'm going to stick with Tongue of the Giant just because it's a little easier. So if he does successfully cast that or use that language, he can cast the lightning at base mana cost 6. So for him to try and do that, base mana cost 6, EL1 is going to cost 8 magic, 8 mana. He can gather, it's going to take him 4 phases. So he can gather at EL1, he can gather 2 mana per phase. It would take 8 phases for him to gather, cast that at EL1. So I think he's going to, and it's 3 phases at EL 0. There's the decisions that you kind of have to make. So whether or not he uses the language, whether it's EL 0 or 1, doesn't make a difference there. It does reduce the mana cost by 20%, so that would make it 5 or 7. Let's round it down, of course. Okay, maybe some other spell might be better here. You go back to the Smokeless Flame that he used the last time around. Well, Smokeless Flame, again, the language works for that. Could get it at EL1. So base mana cost 4, EL1 is going to take 6 or 5, I guess, in this case. Casting speed at EL1. These casting speeds look different. I wonder if that's changed from the version 1 rules. I seem to remember him gathering mana a little faster the last time around. Anyway, so that's going to be base mana cost. What did I say? 4. Base mana cost 4. Get 1, so 5 points. I'll take him 3 phases if he manages to get his language off. 2. No, let's go for it. What the heck? So he starts gathering mana for his Smokeless Flame spell. And let's just go back and double check on Smokeless Flame here. Back to the PDF. So, Smokeless Flame. His mana costs 4, range is EL +1. Be 10 feet or 20 feet, depending on what EL he actually manages to get it off on. And if he does get it off, it's at least 3d10 plus something worth of damage. So definitely worthwhile there. So let's get my handy little piece of paper out here. So let's go for phases. So phase 1, he's gathering mana. We go to Missile Fire. Oops. So let's switch back to the full video here. So Missile Fire comes next. Of course, I didn't add the Missile Fire table to this, so we're going to have to actually, we can look at Raffin's sheet. So we know we're at 110 feet, which is medium range. Puts us on the 0 line for the combat. So our 0 line can be modified by defensive value the wargs have, which is nothing, and the bow EL is 5, so we're subtracting 5 from our roll. Looks like. All right. So he takes his shot at the warg that's 110 feet away. At -5. And we get a 0. Wow. So that would be a deadly hit. So on a deadly hit, the bow does 2d10 plus 6. That's a good start. Yeah, that's good for these guys. 2d10 plus 6. Oh my goodness, 0, 0. All right. So 26 points of damage to the first warg. That's must have gotten the beast in the head. So, and he's got a natural armor value of 2, so 24 points. So that's 29 minus 24 for Raffin. It's the bow. If this creature wasn't a Katothi creature, I would say you'd be rolling for morale and looking to run away if it was just a regular wolf. But the Katothi and Elder absolutely hate each other, and so the wolf will continue to rush in to the fight and yowl in pain as it calls for its mate. And there's an accompanying bark coming from somewhere nearby as well. And a few other barks that maybe a little higher pitched or something. Wait, so movement, or so no magic effect yet at this point. And then we get into movement and melee. So the warg moves up to 60 feet away, being that he's moving 5. So this particular warg has a movement rate of 17. So he is moving, oops, that's all right. Oh, that is right. that's right, 17. So 5 the first phase. Puts him at 60 feet. Oh, right on the edge of the map. We'll just say he made it that far. I'll give him an extra 5 feet. Seems like that's a little hard to see. Okay, no, I'm not getting any luck with the light around here. Okay, anyways, we'll make do. That's the end of the first phase. So phase 2, we have mana allocation again. So our illustrious Gildor, Dex, other. Oh, actually, I didn't do his language. So his language is, if I remember correctly, is 60 for the Tongue of the Giant. 60. 52. Alright, so he's actually got his language off. So he's casting it at EL1. Or he's effectively using it at EL1. So he's gathering another 2 mana. So let's keep track of that on the page here. So 2 plus more. And missile fire. Yeah, he'll take another shot at this thing. Again, as I said, this time we're 55 feet away. Raffin at 55 feet is going to be short range on the +8 line. So on the +8, and he's got -5 to his roll. Oops, +8, -5 to his roll. It's going to be 1, and that's a clear miss. So he drops his bow and looks to pull out his sword. Magic effect, not yet. Movement to melee. So this thing moves up. He's moving. In phase 2, he's moving 40 feet. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Probably shift over a bit. He'll stay there. Yeah, he'll shift over a bit. And we're into phase 3. So phase 3, we gather, I think it's 1 additional mana he needed. His mana costs 4, 20% off the 6%, or the 6 mana, so it's 5. So he gathers 1 more. Have no missile fire because Raffin is in the process of switching weapons, or switched weapons here. And then we have magic effect. So let's see if we can get the spell off. Right, so the warg has an MTV of 8, so he's a little tough. And we're subtracting the EL times 2 from the roll. So he's basically adding 6 at the end of the day. This is not quite as handy as or quite as easy as the healing was. We're not saying that the healing was all that handy. So we're adding 6 to his roll, 22, so 28, and that is a success. That's about to finish off this warg. And so we did EL1 spell, and the damage is 3d10 plus EL times 4. So 3d10 plus 4. Up to maximum of whatever he's actually got left for damage. So 8 to 17, and our illustrious warg only goes to DTV, or -4 hit points, so, and the natural armor value doesn't affect that. So he had 9 hit points left before he's completely. That would be Gildor with the smokeless flame, and that wipes out this guy. But during the movement and melee phase, we see another warg show up. They'll come from the same direction, from their lair, with 2 youngins. Oh, right, and so Gildor has used up, in addition to the 9 that he had used from the previous, still had outstanding from the previous day, he'd used a total of 14 now. And back to, well, that was phase 3. And now we're into, so he'll take a step forward just to make sure that it doesn't. Okay, so phase 4. Mana allocation. That was so. Does he want to do the smokeless flame again? Is he going to pull out his weapon? I think he's going to. Gildor's in for the attack with the axe. Got the axe. The axe is heal 2. Yeah, he's going to pull out his axe and they're going to do some meleeing here. Right, so no mana allocation, no missile fire, no magic effect, and we're into movement and melee. So order of precedence here for get our movements done. Basically move up slightly, and then the rest of these guys will move in as well. Basically they'll make it right up to him. We'll have the big guy attacking Gildor, the 2 small ones attacking something like that. And now the axe and the heavy sword go at the same time as the creatures. Let's see, these creatures have, he's got an OCV of 8, which is the same as the speed of the sword and axe, and these young ones have an OCV of 4, so they actually go after. So characters go first. So we'll start with Raffin, swinging at the large mother org, or warg. More space. Okay, Raffin, you are using your bastard sword. You have an EL of 6. So you're subtracting 6 from your roll. You have an OCV of 7 versus the warg's DCV of 7, so he's on the 0 line. He's subtracting 7 from his roll on the 0 line. 72 on the 0 is going to be a miss. And Gildor is going to swing at one of the young ones. They have a DCV of 4. And Gildor has an OCV of 5, so he's on the +1 line with an axe skill of +2, so he's subtracting 2. And 68, that's going to be as well. Then the warg attacks, mother warg attacks Raffin. She has a OCV of 8 versus his DCV of 7, so she's in the +1 line, and a natural weapon index of -2, so she's subtracting 2. He has a shield skill of 2, so he's adding 2 to a roll, so that's a 0. So what did I say on the +1 line? Net 0 to the roll, 94. So that's a miss. The 2 small wargs, or young ones, have an OCV of 4 versus Gildor's DCV of 6, so they're on the -2 line. They are subtracting 1. Gildor's adding 2. Oops, adding 2. So they're -1 to the roll, or +1 to the roll, I mean. But there are 2 of them. Multiple opponents, that's -5 to the roll. They are -4 each of them. So -4 versus Gildor on the, what did I say? -1 line? -2 line. Yes, -4 on the -2 line. 90 something on the -2 is definitely a miss. And 82 is going to be a complete miss as well. All right. Phase 1. No mana, no missile, straight into melee. Raffin, you are on the 0 line with -5 to your roll. Line, -5, 70 something, that's not even close. Gildor swings at one of the ones. I guess the one right in front of him. And he was on the +2 line with max skill of 2, -2 to the roll. Jeez, I'm not really rolling great here, am I? Larger one attacks Raffin. He was on the +1 line with net 0. So 83 is a miss. Wow. Normally the battles go a little faster if I'm not rolling so crappy. And the 2 little guys, they were on the -2 line with -4 to the rolls. First one, 21. That's going to be a hit. The second one, 12. Fourth, it's going to be an 8. That's going to be severe. All right. So on a regular hit from the first one, it's going to be a die 6 plus the strength bonus, which is 0 for these guys. They don't have a strength per se. Die 6, 4 points. On a regular hit, his armor blocks, his leather armor only blocks 1. So 3 points to Gildor, and 3 points to his armor. And now the severe hit. His leather helm does come into play, so he's reducing it by 2. It's going to be a D10 damage. 1 point. 0. So he takes nothing from the severe hit. Okay, next phase. Phase 2 of the second round. Okay, Raffin. 0 line with -2 to your roll. No, -5 to your roll. Sorry. Because your weapon skill. Oh, your bastard sword 6. -6 to your roll. Keep screwing that up. Okay, 0 line. 12. 13. It's a regular hit. So regular hit for Raffin with his bastard, d6 plus 3. 8. Less the natural weapon index, or natural armor value of 1. So 7 points. Get through. So 24. Minus 7. This is Raffin with the bastard sword. Right, Gildor. You on the +2 line with minus 2 to your roll. 0-2. Alright, there's a deadly hit for you. So Gildor, with a deadly hit on the axe, does 2d10 plus 3. 10, 13, armor, natural armor value 1, so 12 points of damage. 12 points of damage to one of the young ones, which puts him at 0, so he basically takes him out of play. Gildor, the axe. We'll just lay this guy on the side. Now, 12 points of damage. Oops, just lost one of the lights. 12 points of damage with his axe. Only has a fatigue value of 9, so it actually takes the damage. It doesn't break. I'm using the optional armor and weapon damage rolls. So, and they attack back. So the other org on the, what was I saying? The +1 line. With net 0, that's a miss. And the young warg attacking Gildor on the -2 line, 68. Which is definitely going to be a miss. Needs a 46 to get even a shield hit. And next round. Oops. So phase 3. Raffin, you can do better. 34 minus 6, 28. 28 on the 0 line. Be a shield hit, no shield, so it's going to be a regular hit. It does a die 6 plus 3. 5 points, less 1 for the natural armor value, so 4 points. And with the bastard sword. Gildor swings at the young wolf on the +1 line. OCV 5 versus DCV 4, so on the +1 line. He is subtracting 2 from his roll. Oops, wrong dice. Subtracting 2 from his roll. 11. The +1 line. So that's a severe hit. And Raffin, or sorry, Gildor on a severe hit with the axe does a die 10 plus 3. 5 points. This one for the natural armor value, so 4 points. Gildor with the axe. The mother warg attacks back on Raffin. 39. On the +1 line, it's going to be a shield hit. He does on a regular hit. She does a die 6 plus strength bonus. She has a strength bonus of +1, so 3 points. So that bounces off the shield. But Raffin did successfully use his shield. I'll make note of that. Oops, down here, shield. And the last young one, swinging at Gildor. I can get a bit more light over here. Yeah, that's better. Four. Wow. Double check what line that's on. So he's 4 against his DCB 6, so on the -2 line. Subtracting 2 from his roll because of the shield, or adding to the roll because of the shield. Subtracting 1, so +1, so 5. 5 on the -2 line. Maybe severe hit. So on a severe hit, they are doing a D10 plus strength bonus, which they don't have, so just a D10 damage. 8. Wow. Gildor's getting beat up a bit here. So less 2. 6 points. So 6 to his armor, 6 to him. And we're on to the next phase. Phase 4 of round 2. Right. It's a bit of a slog here, guys. Sorry about that. But anyways, should be done shortly, one way or another. All right, Raffin. It's a nice big hit here for once. Oh, that's a miss. Disappointed in you, Raffin. And Gildor. He swings at the young one. 23. I'm sure that's going to be a miss as well. Other swings back at Raffin. 35. That's likely going to be a shield hit. So +1. That's 0. That's going to be another shield hit. 3. She has to be able to damage the shield, has to do at least 6 points of damage. So dice 6 +1, so 6 points. Well, there's at least 1 point of damage to the shield anyways. Right. Last young one. 40. On the -2 line, that's going to be 42, so shield hit. So I guess this is a shield for Raffin and a shield for Gildor. So I think I missed making an attack here, but oh well. Probably screwed that up somewhere along the way. Lost track of what the hell I was doing. Okay, Raffin. 33. -6, so 27. On the 0 line. You hit, shield hit, so a regular hit. Die 6 +3. 7 points less the natural armor value of 1, so 6 points. Gildor. Gonna swing on the +1 line. You're subtracting 2 from your roll, so 24 on the +1 line. For the regular hit. And you're doing d6 +2 on a regular hit. So 6 points, less 1 for the natural armor, 5 points. The wolf swings back, misses. Little guy swings back, misses. And we're on to phase 2. Raffin. You only got to do a little bit more to this thing. That's a miss. Oops. And of course I lost a dice on the floor. 1 second. Right. Put the dice back. Swings at the young wolf. Right. Ward swings at Raffin. The +1 line with +2 to the roll. That's a miss. And one swings at, or bites at Gildor on the -2 line with +2 to his roll. Actually, -1, +1 to his roll. It's a definite miss. And we're on to the next phase. Okay, Raffin. Come on, buddy. You can do better. 64, 58 on the 0. That's a miss. Gildor. On the +2 line, no, +1 line. 0.5. He's subtracting 2 from his roll. No, he's subtracting 2 from his roll for his axe. So 3 on the +1 line. That's going to be a severe hit. Severe, he does a d10 plus 3. 4 points. Jeez, these guys like dragging things out. So 4 points, less 1 for the natural armor. 3 points. What are we up to here? 5, 9, 12. Oh, good. That puts him at 0. Puts it at 0 as well. He's down. And the female wolf, or warg, bites at Raffin. 25. That might actually be a hit. So 25, he's subtracting 2, adding 2, so 0. On the +1, 9. That's going to be a regular hit. So d6 plus 1 damage. 5 points. Plus 2, so Raffin takes 3 to his armor and 3 to himself. And we're on to phase 4. Does Gildor want to try and use a spell on the warg? You know what? He's just going to go in there and swing with his axe and be done with it. He'll move up to there. Gives him a flank. -10 to his roll. So let's start with Gildor taking his swing. If I remember correctly, I was looking for this one. So when it comes to characters swinging at the same time, characters will always attack first. Always attack first if the ties are broken by dexterity is the first tiebreaker. So Gildor's dex is 31, Raffin's is 16, so Gildor definitely goes first. He's got -10, -12 to his roll. 2 opponents is another -5, so -17 to his roll. And he is on the -2 line. So it's going to be a regular hit anyways. Don't have to quite figure out all the numbers. It's close enough. D6 plus 2 damage. 7 less 1 for the natural armor value. 6. -6 for Gildor with his axe. So what are we up to here? 6, 12, 14, or 12, 16, 23. 1 hit point left. So, Raffin, you are on the 0 line with +5 or -5 because of the multiple opponents, multiple opponents, and -6, so -11 to his roll. Totally misses. He's just too excited. And the warg will bite back in him. 87, that's a miss. Back to phase 1. Gildor swings again with a whole bunch of minuses. And I said he was on the -2 line. That's got to be. That's going to be another hit. 6, 8. -1, so 7. He has a DTV -4, so he's done a total of 4 more points of damage and completely kills the wolf. Killer with the axe. And they each take out one of these guys, so -2 for Gildor with the axe and -2 for Raffin with the axe. They're both at 0. They have a DTV of -2, so that they do, each of them does 2 more points to kill off the last 2 wargs. Right, now the fun part, figuring out all the combat experience points and with all these miniatures, clear off a few things. Oh, by the ways, this map is from the Wilderness Book of Battle Mats from Loki Battle Mats. Great set of books. I actually do like these. Lots of different options in here for different scenery, whether it's water, and of course the 2 books that come in the package line up with each other, so you can have a much larger area. But yeah, these are awesome. And of course, not paid announcement, but anyways. So let's do some calculations, and then we can do some healing and wrap up for the day here. That combat took far longer than I was hoping with all the crappy rolls that I had. But all right. So combat experience points. The combat difficulty factor. So for melee, anyways, this is combat, not magic. So combat difficulty factor times the hit points scored. So there's Raffin on his first hit to 24 points. CDF of 4. It's going to be 86. So let's go for Raffin here. So combat experience points is going to be 96. The female, combat difficulty factor 3. He did a total of 17 points. Is that 51? Is that right? So where was my pencil here? So yep, 51. And he did all of 2 to one of these guys, CDF 2, so 4 more points for that. 151 combat experience points for Raffin. He only used his bastard sword, which unfortunately is maxed. Where's his sword? Best sword is 6, which is maxed currently, so normally he would get, for expertise points with the weapon, CDF times 2. He would have got 8 here, so that becomes combat experience points instead. Would have got 6 here. You know what, I'm not even going to give him, well, yeah, I guess he did do something here, so, and 4 more, so 18. So what is that, 169? Did get a shield hit, so his shield, this guy, is 6 expertise points to a shield. Shield plus 6. So that's going to be 20. That'll have gone up. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 24 for the next level. So he's got 2 expertise that have carried over to the next bit here. Right, a little bit more interesting. Gildor. So, Gildor. Your spell was successful against the first warg. So, this is going to be pretty handy. So, magic gains. The victim's MDV. So, cast at EL1, so 3 times the MDV. So, it's going to be 24 magic experience points. 24 magic experience points. And I need to write on something. He's going to get the MDV times 2, so 16 expertise on his spell. So Smokeless Flame plus 16. Pretty handy. Now for combat experience points. Let's see. He did 6 points here. So that's going to be 3 times 6, 18. Experience points is going to be 18 for the big warg, the female warg. And he did 12 and 12, 24 here. So 48. Actually 48, sorry, 48, 12, 24, 25, 26, so 52, not 48. 52 combat experience points for a total of 60 for 70. Now for his axe, I'm pretty sure his axe is not maxed. So his axe skill is 2, his max 4, so he can actually gain expertise with his axe. Against the, I'm going to give it to him for, he did hit the big one, so CDF 3, so he gets 6. Six for this guy. 2 times, now, is that for each creature or for the combat? Good question. You know what? I am going to give it to him for each creature. So, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Good question. I'm going to give him the 6 for now on his shield because he did do a shield block on this one. So that's going to be 4 for the shield and 6 for the axe. I'm going to have to double check that and maybe come back to it and figure out whether or not. And 6 for the axe. A ways to go on those. And let's add in there Magic experience 24 plus 24. It gives him one more characteristic, so let's make this a 38. For combat experience, he gets 2 characteristics. So let's add that to let's just bump his stamina up to 18. And his combat experience was 70, so we'll add 70 here. For Raffin, he got 169 combat experience points. 69. And he got for 50, so 4 characteristics out of this battle. Throw, I guess just for the sake of doing it, let's throw 2 on here, so 34, and 2 on here for 28. I'll update his character sheets the next time around. Actually, I'll probably use the spreadsheets next time around, so I can just kind of flip between the spreadsheets instead of working with the paper here. And all right, so that's the combat done. Gildor will run around and grab some miscellaneous parts off the wargs. Let's I've lost my pen somewhere. Whoop. Work parts. 2 for the males. We'll give them 1 for the 2 young ones. And now, so we're wounded. Gildor will do a healing spell on himself. So let's see. Oops. He'll use his language. 3, so language works. He's going to cast his base mana cost 1 spell at EL 1, which is going to cost him 3 mana. What was I looking at last time that it was costing him 4 each time he was casting it? EL 2? Or has he got MEL 1 and... What's got EL 1? Okay, so he's casting EL 2, sorry. That's where he's coming in at 4 mana used. Right. He wants this to work, so it's going to be minus... So 2, EL times 2, so 4 plus... So minus 17 to his roll. 43. Could be a success anyways. And the healing spell does... Let's see. Where's the healing spell? Page 167. It's going to be D6 plus the stamina bonus. So plus 1 plus his EL. Okay, so D6 plus 3. So 9. He is back up to max. You know what? He's going to try the same thing on Raffin. So he's going to use the language. 23, it works. Wants it to work. MDV 3, he's subtracting 7 from his roll. That works as well. Wow. Wish they'd always roll this low. And he's up to max as well with more than 5 damage restored. Only had 3. So again, he's Casted EL 4 or 2 in both cases, so four experience for each. So plus 8 more experience. I'm gonna say that's probably worth another characteristic point. Let's go for, you know what, I'm going to keep bumping his intelligence up. So that's going to be 39. He's going to get 4 more. For each successful cast, he's getting 2 expertise. So that's 4 more expertise for a total of 11 now. He's got a little way to go there. And they're up. They're both plus 4 more. So he has used a total of 22 mana out of his total of 33. So it's going to be a few more days before he's back to his max mana. I think one of the first magic items he might be looking to find or make is probably a mana storage device. So we'll see what it takes to do that. So anyways, so these guys will travel back to Sylvanheart, inform the captain that the Warg menace, at least for the moment, has been taken care of. There's much rejoicing. We've got some experience out of this. And we'll see what adventure is in front of these guys for the next time around. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me. And hopefully it was at least informative, if not a little slow. And I hope you join me for the next adventure. Happy adventuring, everybody. Hope to see you next time.